Hey everyone, it's Pomsetay Podcast Sussex with two pretty D's
Hi, this is D number 2.
who always acts like D number 1.
Okay. When I started to say, I said "Ooh, the number 2.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh.
Why did I downgrade myself?
Why did I say that? No. But anyway, I was thinking about the activity. But anyway, so this episode, we're going to look at the Tudors to the Windsor.
But this is our third installment.
Right.
We're focused on, we're almost there, y'all.
Right.
We're at Saxe-Coburg Gotha.
Right.
And wow. So again, with the family traits and all of that other craziness.
Yes. So from where we left off, we just identified some individuals that we're going to highlight and follow the family tree to the Windsors on this episode. So the family traits that we've identified are racism, narcissism, and misogyny.
And yes, like you said, we're going to be focusing through Queen Victoria and her kids.
Yes.
And that leads us down into the next installment, the last. But yes, the reason she was the grandmother of all of Europe, because all her kids, she made sure hooked up. Mm-hmm. But we'll talk about that in a little bit, because Homegirl's a little
special.
Yeah. Okay. So, Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom. Really? Her first name wasn't
Alexandria? No.
That's her first name?
Yeah, because as a queen or a king, you don't have to necessarily go by your name. You could pick from past kings and queens, just like the upcoming coronation. Mm-hmm. He could pick, I want to be King Henry or King David or, whatever.
Okay, well, Victoria was her middle name.
Oh, okay, so that's what she chose. Okay.
Right, but I think it's because they shortened it to Drina, and I think that was too ghetto for her. I'm kidding.
Okay.
All right, so no, but her first act was Queen was to act for 1 hour alone.
Really? Wow. Okay.
And we'll get into that because her family a little deep. Mm-hmm. Second longest reigning British monarch, which we all know. Mm-hmm. Grandmother of Europe, which we'll dive in a little bit. Survived 8 assassination attempts.
Right.
Which
wouldn't surprise me. I'm sure it wasn't just all internal. I'm sure all.
Yes. No, there was some. It was external.
Yes.
Well.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Her name lives on around the world. It's literally, they go and
everyone
colonize
knows.
And,
exactly.
Yes.
Right. And there's so many things named after her. We really need to start changing a lot of those names.
Exactly.
Like
and
Queen Victoria Falls in Africa.
Exactly.
That needs to change.
Yes.
And
half of Canada.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And because of all the horrific things that went on in Canada. But anyway.
Every country they went to.
Right.
Started the idea of the modern day royal. This whole idea of having patronages. She had up to 150. Mm-hmm. Busy work.
Right.
And then, good thing, she could speak 5 languages.
Excellent.
Fluent all 5 and dabbled in some Hindu stani.
Yeah, that's because of her, one of her munchie that we'll talk about in a few minutes.
Yeah. So, this is why I was saying it was a little deep about her background. And she needed that hour.
Okay.
She grew up with what's called the Kensington system.
Oh, what's that?
That is when you can't go anywhere by yourself, ever.
Whoa.
And then she wasn't allowed to play with little kids. Mm-hmm. She had to always be with a teacher. She had to always be accompanied by someone, even going down the damn steps.
Wow.
And I don't know if it's because her uncles prior to her were all dying off left and right.
Right. They want to make sure that she was safe. Physically safe, right?
Okay, really? You gonna sleep with your mom until you become queen? She had to sleep with her mom until she was 18.
Really?
Her mom is sick. These people are special. She did a mommy dearest.
I don't know. I remember, okay.
No, nobody does that.
Maybe it was the temperature, keep her warm. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, we know that family's petty. Mm-hmm. But her uncle made it extra petty.
Okay.
He couldn't stand her mother to the point that he made sure he lived till she was 18, so she would never be queen. Because her Uncle George had died, and then it went to William, and him, and he, before he died, he's like, I'm it needs to go to Victoria.
Yeah, he didn't want her mother becoming queen before her.
Because her husband had died too.
Right.
And she would be the queen, but he was like, no, no, no.
Yeah, so internally within her family, there was this bit of feud. And the uncle is called the then King William what's that? The
Fourth.
Absolutely despised her mother.
Yep.
And exactly. William's response was unforgettably petty, because it's sort of like if, let's say, the Cambridgers somehow, did not...
Egghead and Buttons did what?
Yes, had an accident, and that... George couldn't become king because of his age, so you probably
and you don't want it to go to Buttons.
No, it would never go to Buttons.
I know.
It was only
but
blood.
that's what I'm saying.
It's a bloodline. No,
right, okay.
He wanted it to go to
But
so it would go to Harry.
Right, but the mother's not bloodline.
Yeah, I know. So it would go to Harry, and then they would most likely appoint him regent king until George was of age. So that's my example. It's not literally.
Oh, yeah, but no, the pettiness is there.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yes.
Okay.
It thrives. Some more about Homegirl. Heavily involved in politics. As much as they say they're not involved, they're involved. Well, anyway, she was definitely involved.
Yeah, and I think it still exists. Everything else that's going on is hidden. Okay, she was heavily involved in politics, She started the white wedding dress trend.
Introduced hemophilia into several European bloodlines because all her kids married out into other European royals.
Right.
Disliked having kids, even though she had 9.
9 of them, right.
And the fact that probably is because she was pregnant for less than
9.
17 years.
Exactly. That's a
long ass time.
Right. And the church labeled her as a heretic because she used chloroform to help with childbirth.
Well, they believed back then that women had their duty. You had to
endure that horrible pain.
Exactly.
Yeah. And oil, even today, all
yes,
it's not
bullshit.
natural.
Right.
She spied on her kids in order to control them.
Who does that remind you of?
My job. Anyway. Control them.
Yes.
So this is currently you see this being played out in the modern day royals. She mourned Albert's death for 40 years. Was buried with mementos of both her and her husband.
Both of her husband, Albert.
And her secret husband. So this mourning was all, what was it? I don't know. I remember when I went to Windsor.
She didn't want to do shit.
No, I think she was busy. She was busy. But it was all for appearances sake.
Right.
Right. It wasn't like, I really miss him. I'm going to mourn you for 40 years. She had another husband. Give me a break.
Right.
And I believe that could have been part of why she was so controlling of her entire environment.
Yes.
Who is saying what, who's doing what.
Exactly.
And that's why in the current family, keeping secrets and being loyal to the monarch, it's like the absolute, we hate spam. Let's remember to turn off spam. Yeah. It's like... it's like the current day monarchs. It's sort of like the reason Prince Harry is out is because he was disloyal. He went and said something, even if it's true, that and he saved someone's life. He's out because we can't trust you anymore. You're disloyal to us. So that's part of that behavior.
Right.
Has carried on to the current day.
Yes. So she had 9 kids. Ooh, okay, let's just go ahead and start in order. So Vicky, she was the Princess Royal. Oldest child, despite the here we go. She was her mother's
secretary.
Yes.
An assistant. Right?
Yes, and for a good part of her time. But it got to the point where she got married to the Duke of Hesse or Ludwig of Hesse.
Right.
And she made her write her every day, either every day or anytime something happens. Right. So she was literally reporting everything that was happening in Prussia to her mother.
Right. And it took her a long time to give her permission to marry because he wasn't the first person that she wanted to marry.
Right.
Thought about marrying, according to some of the documents that we read.
I don't
know how, I'm not going to mention it talk too much about it because we can't authenticate anything. But
Well,
anyway.
there is some of their children. They
Right.
said it outright.
Okay.
But yeah,
So
but the
that's-
fact that she was already still controlling, but then you're controlling what's going on
In another country.
There you go.
And that's why they marry each other. Okay.
Right. And then the other part is that she was she actually believed in science. So I think she wasn't too happy with that.
Okay.
Expanding her mind. Broaden your mind. All right, next was Edward. He was the next in line, the heir. Who does this remind you of? Being the heir apparent for almost 60 years. Chucky. Anyway. And just like Chucky, he had mistresses.
Yes. That was a pattern that I saw over and over again. And it was just normal.
Yes, and then like current day, his mother did not allow him an active role in running the country until 1898. So pretty much all of her career, she was running things, and
yes.
then maybe now then I'll let you know.
Right.
And then she would only send him summaries of important documents, but refused to give him access to the originals.
The originals, so he can make his own summary to see whether. Yeah. Okay. That's
so
weird.
so he can't.
Yeah.
Right, and can't dispute anything that she decided on. But yeah, the mistresses, there's too many to name, but they're all highlighted in blue. But, of course, of one, it was rumored that the horse, what's her face? Calmilla?
Yes.
Calmilla's grandmother, Sonia Keppel, was fathered by Edward.
Right.
Now, that was rumored. There's no proof. But people always wonder.
Right.
And he was loosey-goosey.
Right. And we all know that Carmilla's family, she came from a family that, they were close to the royals and had affairs with them.
Exactly.
So it's like her grandmother, her grandma's grandmother, whatever. They all had
They were hoes for
the
centuries
royal
now.
family for a while back. So if that's true,
Yes.
go ahead.
Yes. But what's messed up though, his wife was aware of the affairs, but seems to have accepted them.
That's normal. That's normal. That's how they behave. It's like you marry this. That's how they behave, and that's what they're doing to, who?
Yes.
The
Yes.
jazz hands person. Yeah.
Buttons.
Jazz. Yeah.
Buttons. Okay.
Jazz.
Bones.
Jazz.
Okay. Mumbles.
Mumbles.
Okay. All right. Next up is Alice. Alice again. Had the same kind of drama with her mom, had to be a secretary, but she was the first to die because she had hemophilia. So,
Okay.
But her mom was pretty rude about who she, she was okay with who she married, but she was like, the wedding was so dull.
Okay.
Because it wasn't as lavish as what she's accustomed to.
Okay.
Alfred, is special. This is where the whole gaming comes in. Okay. Oh, it's cool. He became a naval cadet at the age of 14. However, not cool. Hunting in the Hartenbeetenshogen and it resulted in a slaughter of large game animals. So they were big into hunting, and he was big about propagating the whole hunting.
The game hunting in
in Africa.
In Africa.
Yes.
Yeah.
He also was supposed to be the next king of Greece, but the government blocked it.
Because of the queen's opposition to the idea. So she wanted to control her children. She wanted all her children around her. She didn't want him to become, in Greece.
Well, I think that was for her. It was beneath her.
Oh, really?
Yes, she was one of those.
Okay.
But he was the Duke of Edinburgh.
Okay.
And first to go to Australia. So this is where I think the whole Australia tour started.
With him.
All right. So in this time frame, you've got the Prince Alfred going around doing his tours. This is around the 1800s. There's different wars going on in Africa.
Right.
Why did Britain kidnap Prince Alameinu?
Well, they say Britain kidnapped Prince Alameinu. The thing is, when they fought in Africa and they defeated the king of that, that
Emperor Tedros, or
right,
Tudors.
Exactly, in Ethiopia. What they did was they, of course, would take all of the artifacts, all of, the jewelry, the wealth of that country, and claim all of that as their own. When the king died, they didn't want there to be another king, because another king would be a remembrance to the people that, hey, we have a king, hey, we could build up and rally again and fight the British. Now, he was a young boy, and so rather than kill him, they took him to England.
Right.
She took him to England with her as, I guess, a pet.
Well, she wasn't there. She sent one of her.
Yeah, I know.
Guys.
I know she wasn't there.
Yeah,
but, they took him to England.
Right.
And now they're not gonna, kill him. This is probably after they already, gave up whatever you won.
Right.
And they brought him back to be with her, and she kept him for the entirety of his life, and he died at a young age of tuberculosis, I believe.
18.
Yeah, 18.
Mm-hmm. But no. So when they were there, yeah, the emperor killed himself because he rather
die than given to the British. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But then they went and looted everything, and then burned the whole village down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Pretty much what you said.
Yes, pretty much rootless. Pretty much rootless. Yes,
but they took out.
He's buried right now in Windsor Castle.
Still buried there,
right?
And they refuse to return his remains, despite multiple attempts for multiple years. I look back. There's multiple requests from.
Oh yes, even recently they asked for it, and you know how organized those people are. They know, they have everything categorized. They have shelves. Just like when they lowered Philip, we knew, he's on this shelf. And, oh, by the way, that's that person laying there,
right,
entombed right there. And he is also there and in an organized fashion. They know exactly where to find him. But her excuse was to get to where he's buried, that off the shelf where he is, to be quite honest, it's saying that they would disturb the other people who have died, and I was that is absolutely ridiculous. They should just give those people, that man back, give that king back to his country
and let him rest in peace.
Yes, because that's who he is. He was a king.
He's emperor.
He was yes. Okay.
And but then all of that greatest haul, a lot of the stolen artifacts that are still today in those museums, all should go back to Ethiopia.
Oh, absolutely.
And every other country they looted from. But yes, the poor boy is still there. Yeah. I know, but the poor boy is still there.
Yeah, David Attenborough gave Prince George a little toot. I think from
it was a fossil that was found in the Maldives.
Yeah, I think it's a fossil of a tooth.
Yeah,
and the people of the Maldives, I don't know if it was found by David Attenborough. I think he got it somehow, but anyway, it belonged to that country, and that country said, "Why are you giving that away? That is our property.
Right.
That should be given to us." So they had no excuse. He had no excuse remedy to combat that request. So behind the scenes, they went after those people, and those people then said, "Okay, that's fine. They could keep it." They refused to teach George a lesson, Attenborough a lesson, all of those people a lesson. Is like, give the stupid thing, not a stupid
I know what
thing,
you mean.
give the artifact back. They refused to.
I know.
I mean, they're just. Ugh.
Yes, and so the entitlement.
The entitlement, exactly.
All right, next up is Helena. Helena, they kind of dogged her out, not gonna lie. She was probably one of the more smarter ones. She was into being a nurse and helped found around, she wasn't a nurse, but I'm saying nursing was kind of her passion, and she was one of the founding members of the British Red Cross, which was cool. But as she got older, her siblings barely went and visited her, even her brother, King Edward. So she was kind of like, let's not talk about her. And maybe it's because she tried to hook up with the librarian.
Okay. So she never married?
No, she married, but the first dude, was a little problematic.
And she lived in the UK then, right? Okay.
Yeah, but, elsewhere.
Yeah.
Out of sight, out of mind. All right. So next up, Luis. Luis was also one of the ones that was part of the secretary crew. Had to
document everything.
Oh God, yes, everything and everything. Also had some drama with her other sister about her husband, but
right.
Anyway,
it's just like royal family in-house drama.
Well, she had a thing about she wanted to marry Prince Henry, but she couldn't marry Prince Henry, so she had to settle for Lord and Lorne. So anyway, but the Queen found it difficult to let her go. And confiding in her journal, she felt almost painful of the thought of losing her, meaning who's going to take care of me and do everything that I want to do.
She was a lady in waiting for her mom.
Yes.
But more so, she wanted to control.
She's a narcissist.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. All right, next up, and it's probably because she was pretty too, so she was trying to use her to do anyway. Arthur. Yeah. So Arthur was big into the military. Made it over to Canada. Became the Governor General of Canada, the only British prince to do so. Also known as the Earl of Sussex. And
I see some similarities.
I see some similarities too. And
The
then
Sussex. Prince Harry is like, okay, now we know which branch of which Duke line actually go out and do some work, and actually went out and had, was in the military.
yes, and nothing really came up that was problematic with with the exception of the fact that at this time, think about who they were fighting.
Right.
And then the other thing is his kids lived on to also spread further into the rest of Europe. He became the father-in-law to the Crown Prince of Sweden, Princess Alexandra. She became the Duchess of Fife, which is in Scotland. And then Sir Alex Ramsay.
Right.
So
it was a lot of now, technically,
damn near all of Europe.
Yeah, intermarrying. Because we already mentioned some of marrying of cousins from could be eventually, you could say, that's really the same bloodline. Because we mentioned earlier all the intermarrying, and here we are with the other royals. Okay.
All right, next up, Leopold. Leopold, he had hemophilia. So, but he also felt the pressure of his mom and this whole dictation of whatever and everything that he does.
Right.
So he only saw marriage as his way to get out.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But unfortunately had an accident and died at the age of 30. And with hemophilia, you can't recover.
Yes.
Beatrice, she's the last. Ooh, okay. You want to talk about trying to get away. She had to plead with her mother for a whole year.
Really?
To get away from the queen. And the queen only considered it if she and her husband would live at Windsor with her. I mean, not at Windsor, but in the castle with her.
Okay. Well, hey, it's a big castle, big building. At least she didn't have to sleep in the bed with her.
But I'm just saying, it's like, damn, can I leave? Can I? No. You're
still gonna be my servant. I'm still gonna drive you crazy. You could be in love, but
Yeah, do that over there, but come and talk to me later.
Yeah.
So yeah, that. So like you said, all this in the background, all this going on with their kids. So they're trying to leave left and right, but she's also trying to run Britain as well as these other countries and get control and make the British Empire bigger than, larger than life. And then all that, she's going to need some help.
Right. So she had
so she enlisted.
Yeah, it was the 50th Jubilee, another Jubilee. Yeah, and it was her 50th, and India sent to her, I think, this was a secretary, and he would be able to teach her and educate her about Indian affairs, how to interact with the Indian princesses and princes that would be coming to England. And she found him to be a very valued asset in that way.
Right.
He was also teaching her Hindi.
Yep.
And she was teaching him more English.
Right.
Yeah.
So she saw it as like you said, an asset to her negotiations in India.
Right. So she kept him. He was living, I think, at Windsor Castle.
Yes.
Yes. And actually, I believe he was living at Frogmore.
I believe you're all correct.
Frogmore Cottage.
Yes.
And he's the one that he didn't even have his wife with him or his family from back in India with him for quite some time. He was treated horribly because of the color of his skin by not only by her family, all those daughters and sons, but by her staff.
Yes.
Her staff felt that
he was above his station.
Yes. She was giving him too many favors and awards because she elevated him. She was constantly elevating him, giving him
titles,
gave
him money, gave him a house.
Yeah, of course, the cottage.
Right.
Yeah, and giving him
a place to live.
Right.
And then helped his father.
Right.
With his pension and other things. But I mean, it was as soon as that woman died, they couldn't wait.
Well, she knew that they hated him, right? And people were suspecting a different kind of relationship, even though there was a vast age gap, and he had his wife there. Eventually, had his wife there. They felt that he was way too close to her, very even like a confidant.
Right.
And they was so jealous because she, at first, before she learned the language and he learned English, she would send him instructions and pass it through her people, her staff, to pass to him. So that's how they knew what she was asking him to do and how they were communicating. So once he learned the language, they didn't need that intermediary anymore. She would send things directly to him,
right?
Or they would speak directly. So that, I think, even aggravated them even more, because now they didn't have that control. They didn't have the access and what was going on with the two of them,
right? Because those servants were reporting back to the kids,
right?
And especially Edward,
exactly,
because he was like, one, when is she gonna die?
Yeah,
and then two. When is she gonna die? Let me stop. No, I can't stand this brown man up in my house.
Exactly.
Up in our castle.
They hated him, but she loved him.
And he had titles. And
yes.
I mean, like, she brought him rank of nobility. So technically,
above other white
servants.
people. Yes. Other white people. So they were so jealous. And then she knew that her family disliked him.
Right.
So much so that she set it up as best as she could, so that when she died, he would be taken care of. He would be protected, be taken care of to some extent, as best as she could. But we all know that as soon as she died, her family came in and basically...
He was on the first ship out.
He was on the first ship out. He didn't even get to pack.
No.
They took the diary.
Took everything.
Because he kept a diary.
She kept diaries.
Right, and he had all the letters she ever wrote to him. He kept.
Edward ordered to burn.
They burned it.
They burned all the letters,
but they didn't find his diary. Yes.
No, they never found his diary. But all of her diaries and all of that stuff,
it's
had to be burnt. Beatrice had to erase everything out of all of her journals. Now, that's 14 years. That's a lot of goddamn journaling. That is a lot.
And but the fact that she scratching out his name.
Exactly. And the fact that you took that much time to go do that, and the whole eradication of him, so it looked like, he never existed.
Yeah, it's sort of like taking Megan's name off of
Archie's birth certificate.
It's that same play.
Who learned that? Where did they learn that?
From her. And once he, the funny thing I thought about this man and his family is that once he...
But I think what really pissed him off is because he was the only one who made it to the Queen's inner circle.
A man of color.
Yes. Right? So... But according to historian Carolee Erickson and Her Little Majesty, for a dark-skinned Indian to be put very nearly on a level with the Queen's white servants was as all but intolerable. For him to eat at the same table with them, to share in their daily lives, was viewed as an outrage.
So for Meghan to be
Exactly.
elevated at the same level as Jazz Hands Munson. Exactly, because they were both equal, right? Was intolerable, and also
all the people serving them.
Yes, they feel that's intolerable. They have to bow to her. Right. They have to do all these different things. Exactly. She was the senior of seniors. Look how high up Harry elevated Meghan.
Remember, top of the pyramid.
Yeah, he elevated Meghan really high. Yes, extremely high. She was in the pyramid. Yes. She wasn't like the outskirts trying to get in. She was inside of the pyramid. And I just want to mention one thing about Mohammed again, her secretary.
Yes.
When he returned home to England, his family kept his diary. And they knew all the things we know about him, and we know about their close relationship and everything because of his diary. His family kept his journal and passed it down
family to family,
and they all knew about it, but they were not anxious to release it. They were not anxious to share that information. I don't think there really was, it was all that bigger. I don't think they really cared that much about the royal family. The fact that they kept it so long.
Well, you come to my country and pretty much colonize it. Fuck y'all. That's what that was.
Okay.
And we're keeping this as a record.
Yeah, of what you did.
Exactly. And you took one of ours, kept him as your manservant, wouldn't let his family come over for the longest, and then when he finally did, dogged him out.
Yeah.
And then...
Well, his family dogged him out and treated him horribly.
Right.
Yeah.
And then excommunicated him out as soon as the old lady was gone.
Yeah.
But anyway, but here's the thing, what's funny is people are saying, was it really about race? It sure was. And did the queen know? She sure
knew. Yeah.
Yes. In one of her letters, it stated that, outlining Victoria's assessment of the inner palace resentment, the queen says it is racial prejudice and that they are jealous of poor Munchie.
Yeah. Exactly. So they were jealous of not only her family, her black family were jealous of him, but the staff. And it's the same thing that happened with
to
Meghan.
Yep.
The staff.
So
they all felt that they were better than her, even if she was a higher status, even if she was a millionaire, even if she was
educated
beyond any of them. They still considered that white skin above all else. Exactly.
I shouldn't get
so you could be it's like Obama walking up in there with all his degrees and accolades, president of the United States.
Right.
And, this white servant walking around, the one who cleans the toilets.
Yes.
Thinking
still thinks he's better.
They're better because of their white skin.
Right.
That is the sort of mentality.
That's a sickness.
Yeah, exactly.
They got a disease.
It's racism,
yeah. Okay, straight up. But, yeah.
Okay.
So that tells you about the family.
Right.
So then it comes down to, all right, who's next in line? So she passes away, and now it comes to Edward. He becomes king. And then he
marries Alexandra,
a princess of Denmark. So now he's got control in Denmark.
Right.
And then he has
Albert, John, Victoria, and Maud.
Albert, George, John, he died as a baby.
Okay.
Victoria, Louise, and Maud.
Okay.
And, I didn't even want to go deep into this. I had to do a high-level summary because we wanted to get to the Windsors.
Okay.
Edward, he was nicknamed Bertie, had an eye for men's fashion. I think he had a thing for tweed.
Okay.
But I don't know if you noticed.
He would have been a fashion designer.
No, but look what he got.
Double buttons.
Who rocks those double buttons? I'm sorry.
No, but she's not even blood, so go ahead.
All right, Queen Alexandra, also known as Alex. She was once told bedtime stories by Hans Christian Andersen.
Whoa.
I know. Random fact. Okay.
Yeah.
Maud. She waited till late in her 20s, which is not normal for back then.
They were married, what, at 15, 14?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why Andrew was comfortable.
Stop. Anyway,
Go ahead.
She married the Prince of Norway. And they both ended up being king and queen of Norway. Louise, the Princess Royal, Duchess of Fife, remember, region in Scotland. Victoria, Princess Victoria, she was mama's girl.
Yeah.
And a bit of a spinster. And based on this photo, probably looked a little touched. Anyway, I shouldn't dog anybody out like that.
No.
I shouldn't, but...
Just do the summary.
Anyway. And then Prince Albert of Victor, he was actually accused of being one of the people of Jack the Ripper.
Of being Jack the Ripper.
I know, but it wasn't him.
Because they couldn't find him.
I know they couldn't find
him.
him.
They were kept, looking all over, and they said, he has to live in a castle. All those horror movies, they all live in a castle. So that's what the people surmise. He is Jack the Ripper. We don't know. Because who could come and go, do something like that, and get in a castle?
Okay, anyway, we cannot prove that. There has been no proof. But the fact that
we just quote in a book.
that they associated with that. And then last but not least, Prince George, who's later on to become King George.
Right.
So, yeah, they're not very much a racist family.
Yeah, and so, the reason he could get away with saying that, okay, is because of what's happening right now in this country and probably other countries where they're trying to give us, propaganda, this faux news, where they're trying to say right now, Europe never had wars. It was always those African countries or Afghanistan
Muslim
countries.
Yes.
Europe, we're sophisticated. We're not accustomed to war. So this Russian-Ukraine thing, when has this ever happened? Racism. That's a lie. Europe was always fighting with each other, against each other, all that sort of stuff.
And they had some of the biggest crazy-ass wars.
Exactly.
Almost blew us all up.
England and Ireland.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, the Irish
They're
were
still
forever trying to keep England out of there. But anyway, so
And they still can't stand them.
Right. So the reason, I'm saying this is because we are not educating the younger ones, and when we don't educate them, they don't know the history. And nobody has time to go up and look up the British history. So as time goes by, because you're concentrating on your own history and then
Right.
your own country's history, we don't teach that. We should have a course that should be a whole year, and all we learn is about other countries and the history of other countries,
Right.
and really the history of the world, so that we could go out and interact with people
Right.
with some knowledge. Because there's a lot of idiotic people running around being ambassadors and whatever, and totally clueless,
Right.
and insulting people left and right.
I would agree.
So this is,
But I would say for some people, and I would say African people, we end up having to learn other cultures.
oh
and
yeah,
other
and
things.
yeah, that's quite true. That's quite true.
In addition
but
to
not
our
to
own.
this level. But not to this level. So the reason I'm saying this is because we bought the crap when we were fooled into when they told Harry, oh, Meghan, we're so accepting of Meghan, all
Yes.
these different things.
Yes.
Had we known this,
I know.
I would have been a little bit more suspect. I knew there were racists. I knew there were all of that,
Yes.
but time passed. I said, that's in the past, whatever, right?
Well, and they weren't blatant about it.
Exactly.
Right? It was very hidden.
Right. And the way they played it, they played us.
They played us really
Well,
good.
they didn't play a lot of people.
Well,
a lot
no.
of people didn't buy it.
Right. But they
No.
did use Harry
Right.
as their ambassador, so you wouldn't see any of that.
Exactly.
Because Harry is not racist.
Yeah. You want to see the scary look on Jai's Hand's face when she's next to a black kid.
God, and why does she keep taking pictures with them?
It's propaganda.
She needs to stop. Stop
So
torturing
that's what I'm saying. We have
black
to,
children, children of color,
white children,
white kids. They were pissed too. No.
the Irish girls,
I'm sorry. That little girl looks so pissed.
scared. What about the little blonde girl that went running
Yes.
away?
Yes. Or the little baby. Even the baby was crying to get away. Scratching to
Hold
get
on,
away.
his mom.
Yes, in
So-
Denmark.
Exactly.
Sorry.
So, yeah. So had we known that ooh, it's just recent history. Ooh, you guys have some special things going on in your
Yes.
family. And did you get rid of it? Did you clean it up? No.
No.
So, and that's when you start looking in and you seeing where they exempt from the laws
Relative to
discrimination and racism.
racial justice.
Exactly. Even climate change.
She wants to pollute as long as she
She's
can.
like, so long, I'm queen. I can do anything. You all get
Oh,
that
those
plastic
rules don't
bottle.
apply to us.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, Tampon will talk about the environment,
Yeah.
but he doesn't follow
He didn't
it.
have to do it.
He's gonna get on that helicopter.
And it's only just for us flying anyway. So all your stuff flying, then we could fly, and the place won't be
And it'll
polluted.
still be fine.
It'll still be fine. So yeah, we really need to. Before you jump in there, it's like
Oh my God.
educate yourself. You
You do,
But
and-
it's so high. It's so high. Even
Yes.
if, let's say, there's another black princess, or she married into I forgot what family. I think it might still be a aristocrat,
Dutch-
a
I think
Dutch,
it's
a
a
Dutch
Dutch
family.
family. Something like that,
Yeah,
yeah.
go back and look at the Dutch history, y'all. Make sure she's not being. Well, she's still there. She's not. They're not really not trying to kill her. But these people,
They were trying
they're
to kill
still
her.
active in the crowd. You know?
Yes.
They're still active.
Yes.
They thought she was the munchie.
No.
She was.
She
not
ain't
the
doing
second-
that.
She
No.
didn't come here to do that for you all. you
No.
know? Yeah.
If anything, she was trying to help y'all modernize.
Exactly.
But no.
Yeah. So.
Oh my goodness. But yes. So we had to break it down for you guys. So thank you for listening. Coming up next will be about the Windsors.
Right.
And I don't know if we're going to be able to contain ourselves.
I will.
Anyway, like we said again, the racism, the narcissism, because really, well, Queen Victoria was all about
Yes.
her. And she made sure of it. Eddie made sure he made some kind of stamp.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the line.
Yes.
And then, ugh.
So we'll be able to talk about them now.
Yes.
And relative to Meghan, and all of the
But you see the
traits,
theme.
all of the traits that
It's still there.
yeah, they're still there. They practice it.
Yes.
Because that was their family. That's how their families speak. Imagine being in a racist family. If your family is going on with all that stuff, you know, I'm an honorable person, or
I'm gonna wear a brooch with the black person on it
exactly
to meet the first black princess.
to let her know that she is still considered by me beneath me,
Exactly.
even beneath my puppy.
Exactly.
Exactly. You know, so all of that kind of stuff. So, you know, you are going to end up being that way. And one of the things Prince Harry said, I'm not like my family.
Exactly.
We did not know what he meant.
And now we know. And that's why he's invited to the barbecue.
Anyway, so thanks everyone, and please subscribe and join
join.
our channel.
Yes. Thanks, guys.